Okay, welcome. So, what are empirical formulas? Empirical formulas are the smallest whole number ratio of atoms in a compound. So, instead of having something like C2H4, you can take that and you can make it CH2 as the empirical formula. It's the simplest formula. So, what if you need to calculate an empirical formula? So, here are the rules. Step 1. If you are given percentages in your problem, like, I have, 65% of something and, 35% of another thing, convert those percentages to grams by simply changing the units to grams. So 65% of something becomes 65 grams of something. Convert both sets of grams to moles. In order to do that, you got to divide by GFM. And to find GFM, you just use your periodic table. Divide each molar quantity by whoever is smaller. So you're going to get a ratio of 1 to something. And if any mole ratios end in 0.5, double everything. So when you do this, you're going to get the subscripts. And it's going to be a 1 to something. And as long as one of those values is 1, it's going to be the simplest form. Let's give it a try. A 9.2 gram sample contains 2.8 grams of nitrogen and 6.4 grams of oxygen. Determine the empirical formula. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we would change any percentages to grams. But you know what? We were given grams. So we've got 2.8 grams of nitrogen and 6.4 grams of oxygen. So I'm going to start with the nitrogen. 2.8 grams of nitrogen. And then I have down here 6.4 grams of oxygen. Okay, so the first thing it would say, convert any percentage just to grams. We already did that. So then it says convert from grams to moles. Well, we divide by GFM. So GFM of nitrogen is 14 grams per mole. So I'll use dimensional analysis. 1 mole, 14 grams. And down here, 16 grams. So put this into your calculator and you get 0.2 moles of nitrogen. And you do your division down here and you get 0.4 moles oxygen. Okay, so then it says divide each by the smaller. So who's smaller, 0.2 or 0.4? Clearly 0.2. So I'm going to have 0.2 moles nitrogen and 0.4 moles oxygen. Divide each by whichever is smaller. So when this divides out, you get a 1. When this divides out, you get a 2. And now this is a ratio of those atoms. 1 nitrogen atom to 2 oxygen atoms. So your formula will be 1 nitrogen atom, 2 oxygen atoms. And as you can see, that can't be simplified any further, so that is the empirical formula. So again, the procedure is very straightforward. Percentages to grams, that's easy. Grams to moles, divide each by the smaller, and then you have your ratio. Okay, let's try another one. A substance is 25.9% nitrogen, 74.1% oxygen. What is its empirical formula? First thing you need to do is change percentages to grams simply by, taking, you assume 100 gram sample, so that's 25.9 grams nitrogen. And I'm just going to do my other work down here. That's going to be 74.1 grams of oxygen. Okay, so percentages to grams. Next, I need to get your moles. So how do you get moles? You divide by GFM. So this is 1 mole is 14 grams. And then this is, you love dimensional analysis. 1 mole is 16 grams. So grams will go away. Grams will go away. And so 25.9, put in your calculator, divide by 14, you're going to get 1.85 moles nitrogen. Take the time to write your units out. Down here with oxygen, I'm going to do my division, and I'm going to get 4.63 moles of oxygen. Okay, great. Now I have my mole ratio. Now we need to say, okay, who is smaller, 1.85 or 4.63? Clearly it's the 1.85. So let's divide both of those moles by that. And so you're going to get a ratio of a 1 to 2.5. So that would mean you have an N with a subscript of 1, oxygen 2.5. So normally if it was like let's say it was 2.9. If it's 2.9, you're going to round that to a 3. If it was, 2.1, we'd keep it at 2. But this is right in the middle. This is 2.5. So that last bit in the note said if it is smack dab in the middle at 2.5, you got to double both of them. So instead of a 1 to 2.5 ratio, we're going to make it a 2 to 5 ratio. That still is the simplest form. So it's still an empirical formula. And remember, you only double, that's a terrible B, only double the subscripts if you're smack dab in the middle at a 0.5. Otherwise, with your decimals here, you could just round up or round down as necessary. So that's determining the empirical formula. If you have any questions, please reach out. Thank you.